So today is a very poignant day. Um, it's a day that I've been quite aware of for a while, building up, purely because I've been so obsessed with the book subject character. Now, a lot of the trolls over the years they go, "Oh, you're obsessed with Lee Duffy. You're obsessed with Paul Sykes. You're obsessed with I don't know some of the other books," which is actually not true because they're just book subjects. Didn't know him, didn't meet him, don't have any emotional ties to any of them. Uh, the 23, saying that, that's a lie. I've become good friends with Alan Thompson. Alan Thompson was a massive hero, man. I've told you all before that I had Alan Thompson posters on my bedroom as a young lad. But yeah, they're just book subjects, you know. But one book subject who I have just become ridiculously fascinated, stroke obsessed with, and that's Mickey Duff. So he went to the big ring in the sky 11 years ago today. Um, I so obviously I've released 23 books. I've got 4 finished, yet to be released, and Mickey Duff's one of them. And yeah, absolutely obsessed. I wish I could have met him. I think out of anyone I've ever wrote about or worked on, even like a couple of the documentaries and um, I did a bit of work for the BBC last year with the Viv Graham one. So I've kind of come, and even there's a lot of book characters I've met. I've I've been 50-50 and I've never did it. Few boxers, few footballers, one or two actors. And Duff, out of everyone I've ever studied, he is the number one I wish I'd have met. Now, I went in the army in 1998, and I used to drink in a pub on Wardour Street a few times. Um, Still there now. It's called O'Neill's. It's an Irish bar, and it's only a few. It's only a few away from Mickey's office, which was 60 to 66 Wardour Street in Soho. And had I known, when I was like, had I known then what I know now, I'm 44 these days. I know I don't look it, and I was like 18 then. I would have just went and knocked on his door and just, I would just wish I could have met him. I don't know what his reaction would have been. Um, yeah, I don't know, but I wish I wish I had the privilege and the honour of meeting him. But yeah, wasn't the case, and But anyway, he sadly passed 11 years ago today, and it was an end of an era for British boxing. Um, he'd retired in '99, kept his office on for a year, so he'd been gone out of the boxing scene for 15 years at that point. It was still a really sad day for British boxing because there's been nobody ever. You could maybe argue Jack Solomon's, certainly not Harry Levine. Um, maybe I don't know, maybe Frank Warren's up there, I suppose. But in my opinion, and then a lot of these, I've got the book coming out this year, and it's not only my opinion; it's people's opinions like Barry McGuigan, Jim Watt. These are really obviously proper fighting men, world champions. But McGuigan and Jim Watt, they were real encyclopedias of boxing. Particularly Barry McGuigan, he would have been aware of everyone 100 years, just either side. Um, yeah, so yeah, he's 11 years, and long should he be remembered. I think I've used 50 people's interviews for this book. I've done 4 chapters in my own words, so 54 chapters, over 100,000 words. I think it's nearly about 106,000 words, and he is a pioneer for boxing. he was a lot of things that are happening today. He was the first guy, wasn't he? Deal with a lot of Americans, your Bob Arams, your Don Kings, your Sidger Kushners. He was very close to the WBC. And this book, the one thing I want from it, I want him, I was talking to a filmmaker yesterday, and we were kind of toying with the idea of doing a Brian Clough documentary after I do the Brian Clough book somewhere down the line. I'm no longer full time with writing now, so I've kind of got to balance it with a full time job. But we were talking about Middlesbrough doesn't really celebrate Brian Clough enough. Yeah, I don't think he was ever given the freedom. I know he was given the freedom of the city of Derbyshire and probably Nottingham, but yeah, I know he's got his statue in Albert Park. But getting back to my point of that moral of the story before I tell a story to go into one, I don't think Mickey Duff is celebrated anywhere near enough. And this book, that's what I want. I wanted to put it back in the public spotlight. I've already spoken to Five Live about a year or two back, Talk Sport, all them kind of things, and they just said literally, as soon as it's done, we'll cover it. Whether you liked him or loved him, you couldn't help but respect him. He was feared by a lot of people, but even those who disliked him, they had to respect him. And yeah, what a guy! I wish I'd have met him. I wish I'd have had the privilege of meeting him. Um, Obviously, I've interviewed a hell of a lot of people who did know him, and I don't mind admitting I've literally hung on every word. Your Duke Mackenzie's, your Henry Whartons, your Billy Swears. Just littered with commentators, writers, and it's not all. To quote his son Gary, I'm very aware my dad wasn't a saint, but I believe Mickey Duff was a good person, and his intentions were good. Boxing it's a real dirty cesspit. It's a filthy, lots of skullduggery, lots of things that go on behind the scenes that people aren't aware of. I know a lot of boxers firsthand. I did a bit as an amateur, um, but I've worked with a lot. And obviously I've studied the sport for the last 35 years. I, I'm an anorak. I'm obsessed. If I do something, I have to keep the ass out of it because I'm an addict in life. I can get addicted to blue Smarties. That's what I do, and yeah, I've met so many different people. So I've literally just been in awe when I've recorded and I've met people, and yeah, what a guy, what a character, and he certainly should be remembered. And I do hope this book goes somewhere in maybe changing that, you know. Um, but yeah, either way, for good or bad or whatever people's emotions are, um, it will be in the public spotlight. 8 or 9 months from now, I've got a lot on, got a lot of books to do. I've got Ray Morton's A Police Officer's done. I've got Michael Shower's done, not yet to be out. I've got Junior Witter's done, not yet to be out. And then we're doing the Junior Witter documentary. Um, I'm going to do a Brian Clough. I want to do something with Henry Wharton, book-wise and documentary-wise, which is all planned with the filmmaker and all that. Obviously, Henry's a little bit busy, but I like to keep busy, which what Duff did. That's what makes me happy. As soon as I get up, if I'm not at work or if I come home from work, I'm like, right, laptop, typing, people. So I suppose he's a role model for me, if you like. Do you know what I mean? Because that was very much his thing. I remember Henry Wharton said he would fly in from all over the world, and as soon as he'd wake his eyes up, he'd be like, right, let's go to work. And that's kind of what I'm like. The wife's like, can you take a day off? And I'm like, I'll sleep when I'm dead. I'm busy. Do you know what I mean? Just I like to keep busy because, I can't do hangovers anymore. Rarely drink these. I haven't had a drink for 22 days actually, but I know when I do, I'm bad for days, so I can't be bothered, and I just throw myself into work. But yeah, Mickey Duff should be remembered fondly. What a guy, what a character. His passion, second to none. Um, boxing was his thing, and he did massively struggle when he finished, and the fat lady singed on an illustrious career, which was he was entered in the Hall of Fame, 1999, because he'd had boxing from a teenager. And when he retired, when he was 1929, 70, he was like, what else to do? He was lost. Do you know what I mean? As as one would be when you're literally talking the best part of 55 years, maybe 56, 57 years in the beautiful sport, the most noble art. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to release a book back end of the year. It's going to support a registered charity, which is the Jewish Nightingale charity. So that supported, sorry, that wonderful charity over Clapham. They looked after Mr. Duff for the last 2 years of his life. So I'm going to do it where I don't know, maybe £1 from every sale supports the Jewish Nightingale. Um, so yeah, it's a good cause, and I'm sure Mickey would agree with that one. But Mickey Duff, let us know your thoughts. Let us know your comments. Did you have any dealings with him? I'm really jealous. Do you know what I mean? As I said, there's just you know, I wish I would love to meet Graham Souness. I've met so many people the last couple of years. I don't really get starstruck now. I've met too many. There's a saying in life: never meet your heroes. And there's been a couple that I've met, and I've just been like, I wish I'd never met you. Um, I would love to meet Graham Souness, ultimate footballer, 3 European Cups, could have had it all, tackle a brick wall, great moustache. Do you know what I mean? I'm probably the only Celtic supporter in the world who I would really be starstruck if I met Graham Souness. I would have loved to have met Brian Clough as well. Um, Obviously I'm doing stuff with him, but Mickey Duff, yeah, just I suppose the nearest thing I can get is meeting the people, walking into the story, and meeting the characters who did know him and who did have mixed emotions either way. But Mickey Duff, God bless your soul, and one of his quotes that he used for in his 1999 biography, 20 and Out. If I had my life, I would do the exact same thing all over again. And another quote he said, I'm actually using these actually for the back of my own book. How would I like to be remembered as a guy who knew his business? Well, Mr. Duff, I think that is beyond dispute. Have a wonderful weekend.